Hello and welcome back to Charm English Pod. This is part two of a two-part interview that I had with teacher Vitoria Tamarindo. And if you haven't seen part one, you should. You can scroll back on Spotify or YouTube to find it. That video was posted a while ago. I had a lot of things going on over here, so I'm getting caught up with posting podcast videos on Spotify, YouTube, etc. But I really didn't want to not post the second part because it has a lot of great conversation and great information. We talk about strategies for learning. We talk about our thoughts on AI. We talk about what you can do if you only have 15 minutes to improve your English every day. And yeah, I think that we had a pretty great conversation that hopefully will help you both improve your listening in English and simultaneously have some good study tips and some inspiration for learning. So, of course, it was a joy to talk to Vitoria. I hope you all enjoy it. And if you aren't following her, I will leave her Instagram handle in the description of the video. So, here is part two of the podcast interview. Okay, so hypothetical question. If you
I feel like I'm the student who has to translate.
speaking, answer what I said.
I have no
idea. Okay, I'll translate my question.
Please.
If you had, so obviously when you're teaching a class, you have limitations in terms of what kind of materials you can provide, and budget obviously limits us. If you had unlimited budget and could design your dream course that included whatever you wanted, what would you include? What would that look like if you could, with no strings attached, make a perfect course?
This is such a hard question. Have you ever thought about that? Like I know that you have Charm English, so have you ever thought about designing your own course, no budget, no barriers? Because this is so hard.
I think that, okay, what comes to mind for me, I feel like literally no budget, because there's
Like,
no way I would ever
nope.
be able to do this. But okay, English cafe, there are different days with different themes. People come to the cafe and like one day we can do a murder mystery game where we reenact like one person here was the murderer and it's all a role play. Other days inviting experts or people that will do different tasks and activities, but everything is in English.
Would that be in person?
Yeah, I think it would make the most sense.
Yeah.
I guess you could do a virtual version as well.
I really like this idea of virtual and having everybody gathered on a screen. I really like that. So, yeah, I don't know. I really like this idea of inviting different people, experts to, like students could ask this person something or they could interact in English. I feel like this would be amazing, like having the opportunity to talk with like polyglots or people who are bilingual. I like this idea very, very much, but I would keep everything. That's why it's very hard for me to think of a no restraint budget, because I would keep everything very, very virtually. So I don't know if my budget would have to be so like this, And
Yeah.
especially because I believe people would be willing to do that. Like, hey, you're you're gonna be invited to talk about this book or this topic, and we are gonna have this conversation, and you are gonna be helping this community of students who wants to learn more about this. So yeah, but I loved the idea of the cafe. I feel like, oh, okay, I thought of something that I don't have money for it right now. I would have
We're manifesting this idea.
please. Exactly. No, I thought of like a library where people could borrow physical copies, or maybe I don't know, they could download infinite books, because it's so hard, especially here in Brazil. It's so hard to find books in English. If you buy on Amazon, you have to buy from Amazon Global. It's so expensive, so everything you have to find on the internet. All of the books that my students and we read, I provide the books. I search to the deepest places of the internet because I really try to find a good copy, or maybe if it's not so expensive, I would offer, of course, on Amazon if you have Kindle. Or also one resource that I use is YouTube. So if you don't have time to read, you can audiobook. Maybe you
Mhm.
watch an audiobook if you don't feel 100% secure that you're able to read by yourself. So I think I would do this, like this amazing library where people can order and everything is free because my budget is not restrained.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you would be able to cover the
The cost.
cost in that case,
Exactly.
yeah.
No, totally. And I think reading is one of the best ways to improve English. You can read aloud and you practice your pronunciation. You can see how the authors connect the ideas, how sentences are built. So I love reading. I think it's really cool.
Definitely, and it helps you figure out. I think when you first start reading, it can be scary or daunting because the first chapter might have a lot of words that are unknown to you. I mean, it's good to
Yes,
find something at the right level as well. But as you continue reading, it's interesting because you get more used to the author's style and certain words repeat and it gets reinforced. It's really cool
exactly.
if
No,
you stick to
yeah.
it.
Like when I started, I myself, when I started, I would go to this English school. Later on, the school became virtually, but I would go to the English school in person, and there was this library with all of those books, and the books were leveled, and I would start reading by A1, A2 level. So I would read like the Snow White. I would read a few fairy tales with images or stories that I already knew in Portuguese. But my biggest goal was like reading a big book, like reading Harry Potter or reading Twilight. And I did it. I read the first book,
That's awesome.
the first one of Harry Potter. I read the first one of Twilight, and I really liked it. And I was like, oh, Jesus, I'm able to read in English. Like, I
Yeah.
understand. This is so cool. So I started to read more and more, especially when I was in university, that I had time. Like, I was on the bus and I was like, well, what am I gonna do? Sleep or read? I had two options. Most of the time I would read. And you mentioned about the author's style. I just remember reading bunch of books of Colin Hoover, that she was
Mhm.
like huge in 2022, 2023. So I was like, wow, it's like you're reading the same book over and over and over because of the style, and it's really cool.
Exactly. Yeah, it gets easier, which is of course hard to understand when it's the first book that you've read. But then I think being able to do something hard and proving that you're capable of it is one of the best things you can do for your self-esteem and your
Yeah.
confidence.
And also, if you are not 100% confident about like reading a book, maybe you should keep in mind that you don't need to know all of the words and that you don't need to translate all of the words. That's what I always kept in mind because I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, am I gonna have to translate the whole book? It's easier to read in Portuguese. So
Yeah,
I would like, well, this word here, I don't think I'm gonna use. This one here is a good one. I want to, like, this one is in my vocabulary. I want this one to stick with me. So I always kept in mind that if I'm reading a book, I don't need to translate everything. There are words that are keywords to understand what it's being said.
Exactly. And sometimes making a guess and thinking, I think this means this. And then later on, oh, wait, it meant
It
that.
meant that.
It can
Yes.
help it stick in your memory
That
even
is
more.
true. Yes. It would be so cool.
um, okay. When we were preparing for this podcast and thinking of some questions that I could ask you, one that you gave that I thought was really interesting is if someone only has 15 minutes a day to practice their English, what should they do? Um, this reminds me a lot of Atomic Habits, this book
I read
about
this
how
one.
I think that it applies so much to language learning that it's all about these small moments that we have, like this 15-minute period versus putting the pressure on yourself to study 3 hours in one day. So, what is your answer to that? What should someone do if they only have 15 minutes, which I think everyone does, even busy people?
Exactly. Like, I feel like you could not do the same thing every day if you want to practice your English. Like, oh, okay, you're going to read every day 15 minutes. I don't think that you would be useful. So maybe what the person could do is every day try to do something different. So today I'm going to read 15 minutes. I don't know if that's 1 page, 2 pages, a chapter, but 15 minutes is the goal. Tomorrow I'm gonna listen to a song that it's 3 minutes tops, and I'm gonna read the lyrics. I'm gonna see what it means. Justin Bieber is really good, by the way, guys. I'm always recommending Taylor Swift as well. Um, like
Agreed.
you can get a lot from what the person is saying. Try to understand what moment in this person's life, what is going on, if this is a sad song or a happy song, for example. Watching YouTube videos, watching cartoons, there are so many options. Like, there are so many things that you can do in 15 minutes that, oh my god.
Yeah, definitely. And I think even maybe having like a running list of things because
Yes.
some days you're not in the mood to read. You're like, well, I would rather just listen to a song or watch a video. So it kind of is setting yourself up for success to have different options depending on your mood that day.
Exactly. And also, I feel like the person needs to have intention. So it's not I'm gonna watch, I'm gonna look at the screen and I'm learning English. No. You gotta have, you're studying. It's cool, it's nice and everything, but you gotta remember that you are studying. So at least grab your notebook, grab a pen, grab a pencil, write new things, because otherwise you're not going to remember what you've learned. That's what I do. So that is my tip, right? You're studying, remember, like, keep that in mind.
Yeah, because that's what happens, I think, when a lot of people say that they understand more than they can say.
Yes,
It's this passive
yeah, and
practicing.
usually people, they don't reproduce, right? That is the idea of practicing speaking or writing. I myself, I don't practice writing as much, like writing my own thoughts. It's something that I want to improve, but I always write something that I feel like, wow, this is important. I want to remember this. This is something that I want to stick in my vocabulary, so I write it. Oh, I have a good question for you now. It's
Okay.
it's
Bloop, bloop, bloop,
because
bloop.
it's because you said, well, 15 minutes, all right. What do you think of platforms like apps to learn other languages? Like, that little green bird that we have. What do
Oh,
you
yeah.
think?
It's interesting because I started studying German over a year ago. And part of the reason was I wanted to start a language from zero so I would be able to give, because it had been a while since I was a super beginner in Spanish. So I wanted to be able to see, okay, what, not in theory, but in practice, is good to recommend people when they're really starting
Yes.
early on. And I used Duolingo, but So I think it was useful because I didn't have any vocabulary,
Okay.
including basic vocabulary.
Like you didn't know the colors, anything.
No, I didn't know. I basically only knew hello, yes, and no. I didn't know house, water. I didn't know anything. And it was helpful because I was also taking a class once a week where we were then practicing. So I was being exposed to basic vocabulary, writing it down, and then going to class and seeing the same words. And so I think it's important for me to remember that those apps are one tool and not necessarily the main way you should practice. Like, I think they can add something to one of your several tools in your toolbox. And for me, for that reason, it was helpful because seeing one word in different contexts is helpful. And also because it forced me to think about German every day because I was getting notifications.
You're like, aren't you gonna play today? Like,
Exactly. But I think that for me, it gets to be an issue if people are using apps because they want a really easy passive way to learn a language. Because when everything is really easy and passive, your learning is not as strong as when something requires a little bit more cognitive effort.
yes, no, it makes total
So
sense.
that's
And
what I think.
while, like, when you were speaking, I also another question. Like, here we are talking about beginners, right? People who, like, a person who does not know anything about English, about German, about Spanish. What about those students that they are more advanced? They are in the B1, B2 level, but they want to continue in their comfort zone. So, for example, a B2 C1 student listening to slow English podcast. What is your opinion? Because I strongly believe that these are tools, as you mentioned, these are okay tools from your toolbox. But if you are a little bit like if you are not a proficient student, not a proficient student, but if you are not proficient in English, right? If you are not a C1, C2 level, let's say that you are A1, A1, A2. But like talking about students that they want to continue in their comfort zone, maybe because they are afraid to get
Mhm.
out of their comfort zone, like to put yourself out there and listen to real people speaking in English and seeing that it's not as slow as you thought.
Yeah, I would say it's interesting because when we're beginners, we are seeking that comfort zone. We don't feel like we can communicate the basic things, and we work really hard to get enough words so that we can get by if we're traveling or if we're having a basic conversation. And so that's why it's hard for people to then be told, all of this is known, leave it behind and go and make mistakes. It can be hard to feel comfortable doing that. But yeah, I would say that there are different ways to do it. So if you're listening to your slow, easy podcast, maybe doing some shadowing, imitating what you're hearing instead of just listening.
Yeah,
Record yourself speaking afterwards. So, like, adding something more
like an
because,
extra.
yeah, exactly.
No, it
It's
makes
like,
sense.
this is probably a stupid metaphor, but if you're playing a video game and like the final boss is really hard, if you're comparing yourself at the beginning of the video game and the level that you have. But if you get to level 5 and then you only play level 5, you're never going to get further
Yeah.
if you continue to do the exact same things. Um so yeah, it's hard because a lot of us seek that comfort, but the fastest way to improve is to leave that.
Yes.
At
I
least
I
when it's
totally agree.
safe.
Yes.
Sometimes it doesn't feel safe to leave your comfort zone if you're in a really quick meeting or you are interacting with a mean person in the airport,
No,
stay in your
totally.
comfort zone. That's totally fine.
Like, don't speak to that person.
Yeah,
No,
try to avoid
totally.
those interactions, but
No, it's good to see that there are tools that can be useful at every
mhm.
level of English, but you always have to add an extra something. So if you are a beginner, you listen to the podcast. That's okay. If it's too fast, you decrease the speed, you lower the speed. But if you are in a more advanced level, you just add a few more things, because otherwise it's too easy. As you said, you are playing and playing and playing that video game, and you're not gonna get to the you are not gonna get to the moment where you win.
Exactly. You like, give yourself a chance to win. I think that we only see it as, like, a chance to lose, but they go hand in hand. Like, you're only going to win if then you go and you fail and you're like, "Oh, wait, I learned something. Let me go back and I'm gonna try again." I'm curious, did you feel that way in your English learning process when you were in between intermediate and advanced? Did you have this difficulty leaving your comfort zone?
Well, I gotta say that right now I'm leaving my comfort zone, not because we are having this podcast, but this course that I'm taking, it approaches lots of things that I didn't know, and I'm in this classroom with teachers that are 30 and I'm like 20, and I'm like, Jesus. Like,
I'm a
okay.
baby.
Yes, that's what it feels like, but I'm there to improve, to help my students improve. So that's what I keep in mind. But I feel like I've like knowing how to speak English was something so cool for me that I had never had this, like, oh, I'm not gonna speak to this person because I'm not ready. I would go if I wasn't ready. Like, when I started speaking, when I started learning English, I had this opportunity to speak with a person who was not Brazilian, and I spoke, and the English was, and I was like, okay, I spoke, I did it, okay. And I've been having these opportunities to speak to people that are not Brazilian, and not only U.S. citizens, but also people from UK. So I have been able to practice with interact with different accents. That is something that is really cool, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready for it. Let's go. Let's see what you're gonna say. Let's see. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I wonder if part of it, because I give this analogy a lot where it is kind of like physical exercise, because you're a person who goes to the gym, you do the, like, training classes, the Pilates. I think it's in a way similar to be like, "Let me push myself, let me do something that is not easy, but it's also going to be rewarding." I don't know if you
Exactly.
feel the same, that there's a connection between, like, doing physical activity and
No, there
learning something.
is. For example, this last class that I had of this course that I'm talking about, we talked about, we are always talking about collocations, and this time we had to rewrite the student's attempt. So the student wrote a sentence and we had to rewrite it. And for me, it was so hard. I was like, oh my God, it's so hard. Like, when you were speaking, it seems so much easier because you are using your vocabulary, the words that you know. And at that moment, I had to come up with, like, I had to think harder. I had to
Mhm.
search through my brain, like, do you have something in
Yeah.
there? Like,
Open up the
open up the
boxes in the
boxes.
attic.
Yes, and for example, this term collocations, phrasal verbs, idioms. That is something that I'm getting. It's everything that I'm getting used to. Like, it's not something that I know all of the phrasal verbs. No, definitely not. Or I know all of the idioms. But this is stepping out of my comfort zone. This is like understanding that I need to learn. So my students have this opportunity to learn because I don't remember learning a few of these things. So, for example, listening to your podcast about phrasal verbs and back up and on walk on thin ice. These are
Mhm.
all things that I was like, I didn't know, but now I do. So that's how I feel. I'm like, okay, I don't know this. I'm gonna learn. And then I'm going to try to stick to it. I'm going to try to remember as hard as I can.
Exactly. Yeah. And also another part of that too is it's like this I don't know, flow of knowledge. Like you're
Yes,
learning something and you're teaching your students too. So it's
exactly.
also helpful for your learning because you're reinforcing it by teaching other people. And I think
Exactly.
that's helpful.
Yes, it is very, very helpful. This saying that if you teach something, you learn that something twice. It's completely true. Like there are things, and I like to be human. I like to be a person. That's who I am. So when I'm teaching, I'm like, Jesus, I forgot this word. What is this word? And I'm like to my students, do you know this word that I forgot because I forgot this word? So we get
Yeah,
that moment. The person is like, well, the teacher forgets a word. So why can't I forget a word? That's completely fine. And I like to show this transparency, I guess.
exactly. And I think that's also why teachers are not the same as a dictionary, right? Like
Yes.
I have several gaps in my vocabulary, some where I never knew the word for it, and others where I did, but I never think about it, so it doesn't occur to me. Like, I think we all kind of have that. So
Totally.
that's what makes us different from AI or
Yeah, when you
dictionaries
said dictionaries, I thought you were gonna say AI because AI knows
or AI.
like AI seems to know everything, but like hold on a bit. Like it's not
Yeah,
like that.
definitely. I am curious what your thought is about AI because I have mixed opinions, I
Yes.
guess. On one hand, I feel that I love accessibility in general. I love the idea that with the internet and with AI, more people that can't afford a personalized class can have the opportunity to get their questions answered or say, hey, can you give me a study plan? Can you give me exercises? Like, I support that idea.
Yes.
But I also, in terms of what is human and natural to say, AI is not very original. It repeats a lot of the
Yes.
same words, like the word enhance, the word delve. And I will sometimes use these words too, but AI is obsessed with certain words. And
Yes,
if you
exactly.
only learn your vocabulary from AI, it's like this echo chamber of input.
Yeah, like you're gonna seem like a robot.
Exactly.
Like you're gonna speak not like all of the sentences that AI says are horrible. Like no, this is
Yeah.
not like that. But I feel like if you learn everything from AI, you're gonna seem like a robot. This is the first thing that it comes to my mind. And there is another thing. AI is not always correct. This podcast that I was listening to, it was talking about how when AI makes a mistake, we say that it's hallucinating for some reason. So it's like, oh, well, it's not working well today. It's made a mistake. But it's well, if you are getting the informations that you need from this one and only resource, maybe you should be more conscious of what you're searching. For example, like if you search something that it's you ask AI, is this grammatically correct? Maybe AI is gonna say, well, yes, it's grammatically correct, and then you ask, but is this natural? Because there are tons of things that are grammatically correct, but do not feel natural when you're speaking, and AI is gonna be like,
I don't know. Sure.
like, why
If
you
you want
ask
it to
me?
be. Yeah. And also another issue that I have is that like the more cognitive effort you use, the better you're going to be at the language. Like the more real practice you're having.
Yes.
And someone asked me recently in a live if I thought that AI was helping us all learn, and automatic translators were helping us learn languages more.
Okay.
And I was thinking there's a difference between using a language and learning a language.
Yes.
So, for instance, I speak zero Chinese. And if someone writes to me in Mandarin, and in that moment I really quickly need to understand what they're saying, it's very useful for me to just automatically translate into
Definitely.
English. But I will never remember what I automatically translated. That's not, I never learned it. So it's useful speaking globally to be able to instantly translate things, but you're not learning. And I think that's also another thing that I have with AI, where people have a false perception of their own learning when they're using AI for production to make it perfect.
Yes. And another thing is that, for example, if you go on a trip, let's say that you go on a trip to China, as you mentioned Chinese. Okay, can you imagine that situation where you don't know how to say hi or good morning and you have to use your phone to translate everything in your headphones to listen to what the person is saying, translate automatically, then say something, then like this is so overwhelming.
Mhm.
Like, and they haven't created something that speaks automatically what you are thinking or what you want to say and translate. So the best that you can is learn at least a little of the language. I have this student that she's going to Italy and she has English, she speaks English, but I told her, you learn good morning, good afternoon, good evening, you learn the basics, how much it costs, learn the numbers, because even though you speak English, it's not an English speaking country. It speaks Italian. The country is the language of the country is Italian. So you're not gonna be like good afternoon and then like say it please. And imagine if you have no signal, you have no service. How like are you going to mimic? Blah, blah, blah. You're gonna use that one that you
Exactly. Which I guess to an extent, like, you can use whatever tools you have available, but I agree with the idea too that it gives us more humanity to communicate with just the basics. Like, I'm coming to your country and I'm saying hello to you. Just
in your
those sort
language,
of
like
in your language, like those sort of words I think are important. They help us connect more with people.
yes, no, totally. I completely agree. I think that's why teachers and people in general, in my perspective, they're not going to be substituted by AI because AI is not people.
I actually have really mixed feelings about this too because I get so like on Instagram, sometimes I'll get messages of people wanting me to promote their product. This has only really happened to me with AI platforms where they want me to make a post or stories telling my followers to pay for their AI service. And just morally, I haven't ever done it because I've never used that myself. And for me, learning language is very human. So
Yes.
it's not like I judge people for using those platforms or for promoting them, but for me, it would feel very inauthentic
Yes,
to promote that.
and it wasn't the way that you learned. I think like this is very important, right? You suggest, you recommend what has worked for you, not the other way
Yes.
around. Like, oh, okay, I learned English this way, but you can learn using this thing that I've never tested. It's different. So, like, no, you were talking about Duolingo and it makes so much sense. Like you said, well, I'm learning German. I have no idea how to say hello in German. So I'm gonna test. I'm gonna see if it's good and then I'm gonna recommend it as one possible tool.
Mhm.
So yes, I think it wouldn't make sense if you recommended something that didn't work for you. Like,
Okay, I have some rapid fire questions for you that
let's
are
go.
related to random things. Okay. Coffee, tea, or something else?
Coffee.
Okay. Do you feel like in Brazil that's
Coffee is huge
a must?
here. It is a must. There was this time, I think it was like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Coffee was really, really expensive. People were complaining, but see if people were not drinking coffee. It's not like people stopped. Like coffee was 40 reais, which is a lot,
Mm.
and people were still buying it. And they were still drinking it because it is a must. Like you wake up, there are people that they don't wake up. They have their eyes open, but they don't wake up unless they drink a cup of coffee.
I feel like maybe I am Brazilian
Okay,
because
you got the nationality right now. Where do I sign?
yeah, that's my type of people.
No, and I think when I think of tea nowadays, at least when I think of tea, I think like, well, I'm sick, and I need to drink tea to get better. So that's my perspective when it comes to drinking tea. And I like to drink other things like coffee with milk. It's my favorite,
Hmm.
coffee with milk.
Yeah, I was gonna ask your coffee order. So coffee with milk
Coffee
is
with
your
milk, no sugar if it has milk. If I'm drinking only coffee, like black coffee, I would order a dessert. Or if I'm
Mm.
only drinking coffee, I'm so sorry, but sugar in it because I'm human.
Yeah, you're like, I need to add a little something to
Yes,
my
like
coffee.
people say that life is bitter, so why would you drink coffee with no sugar?
True. Yeah.
Do you drink yours? I'm here like, oh, coffee with sugar and like, do you drink
No,
yours?
my preference is coffee with a little bit of milk, but I prefer oat milk
Okay.
or yeah, I like the dairy alternative milks.
Yeah. I like whole milk, like normal, and I add like this of milk and this of coffee, like not too strong, not too weak.
Yeah. That's the thing, 'cause I don't like it where if you order a coffee with milk and it ends up being white and you're
Yeah.
like,
Or like
"Where's
it's
the coffee?"
black. Like
Yeah.
Jesus, where is the milk? I
Exactly, you
like
need a good
this.
ratio.
I like this balance.
I also like what you said about having a dessert where you wash it down with black coffee, because
Yes.
if it's really sweet, then it balances it out. So I also
That's what
like to
I
do that.
do at home. Like it's not a dessert, it's like a cookie. But if I'm drinking coffee and I'm drinking a cookie. If I'm drinking coffee and eating a cookie, then it's okay, no sugar. Now coffee only. No. Even the what is like whipped cream, you know? I
Mhm.
love whipped cream with coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Like
I
when
don't know,
not at
is that a
home.
Viennese coffee?
I don't know. But I love drinking things with whipped milk.
Yeah,
It's
same.
so
The
good.
texture also is just really fun to have, like, a little mustache.
Yes, exactly. And by the way, I thought that the word whipped milk, that in Portuguese we call it chantilly, I thought it was English, and it's not. It's French. And I was like,
Chantilly.
Jesus, why?
Oh, yeah, 'cause we say, chantilly cream. Like, we
Chantilly
also
cream, yes?
yeah, we use I mean, whipped cream is the most common thing to say, but chantilly, you can also
See,
see
the
this. Yeah.
French accent in chantilly, we see
Chantilly.
that it's not. I was like, oh God, one more word.
Yeah, that's funny. I think it happens a lot with food words, with food
It
preparations.
does.
We stole words from
Like,
French.
entrée,
Yeah, exactly.
sauté.
Sauté, yeah. We were like, we don't have a word for that. It's French.
It's French.
Um, okay, what about morning class or evening class? What is your preference?
My preference is evening class because most of my students are like evening class. So if I said otherwise, they would be really sad.
They were like, so she hates us.
Yeah, like, all right, what is up with that girl? No, I love evening classes, but I do love morning classes, especially when I wake up super early and I did all of the things that I had to do, and I'm like, okay, ready. What about
Yeah.
you?
I think I prefer morning. Um, yeah, I think that in the morning, my brain is more active versus at night,
You feel like
which
you
you
have
wouldn't
more
know because I
energy.
feel like physically I'm like, but I think that mentally I am more active in
Yeah.
the morning.
Yeah, I have this stage where like my body's like, "Oh my god." Another day. And then throughout the day you're like, "Oh, okay, now I'm more awake." Let's say like that.
Mhm.
Yes.
Exactly. Because sometimes I'll have people that are like, "I want a class at 8 PM," or something, and I don't think you would want a class with me at 8 PM because I will be like not very coherent, I think.
Well, I feel like this happens with me when I didn't eat. Like, oh, I always eat before my classes, otherwise I end up cranky. I'm like, oh no, I need to have my food before classes. I need to eat something to keep me smiling.
What's your zodiac sign?
Aries?
Oh, okay. Wait, when's your birthday?
March 23rd.
Okay. Yeah, March 23rd, so you not too long ago.
Mm-mm.
Nice.
I've just turned 22.
Woo! Isn't that a Taylor Swift song? I'm
Yes!
feeling
Oh my god!
22.
Yes. Oh, since 15, I wanted to post something with, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22. It's so cool. Everything that Taylor Swift promised.
It's living up to your
It
expectations. You're
is.
like, this is what it is to be 22.
It is. It's so cool.
Nice. Um, okay, favorite childhood TV show.
Oh my god, this one, when you sent me, I was like, this one, I know. Charlie and Lola. And
Mhm.
I would watch Charlie and Lola in Portuguese, of course, because, well, and then, like, it was last year, I was like, well, I'm gonna search a few TV shows to share with my students, right? Not everything is all about Peppa Pig, so let's search other things. And I found out that Charlie and Lola is actually UK. Like,
Mhm.
and I was like, oh my god. Like,
Yeah, I was thinking
tomato,
Charlie,
Charlie. And I was like,
Charlie.
Jesus. Like, because
Yeah.
I feel like my accent is American, definitely not British, but it's so cool to hear other accents, and they're like, Charlie, Lola. It's so funny. It feels like you're watching something so formal. And
Yeah, that's how we always like when I was growing up, if we wanted to imitate like you were a fancy person, like when you're a kid playing games,
yes.
we would use a British accent to be like, "Hello, what are you doing?"
If you may.
If you may, yeah, like we would kind of use that accent to sound fancy, which is funny.
No, but it's really funny because even the words that they use in their daily basis here are fancier. Like we say big, they say huge,
Mm,
enormous. Like, oh my god, it's it's
yeah.
it's like colossal.
Yeah. The vocabulary, yeah, or yeah, that's something that I had to get better at, teaching people that have had education from, like, UK English versus US, because sometimes a student will say, like, "tranquil" or something, and I'm like, "I would never say tranquil."
What is a tranquil?
Um, like, calm,
Oh,
similar to
calm.
tranquilo, yeah,
Tranquilo.
tranquil.
Okay, tranquil. Okay.
And that's a word in English, but not one that I've ever used. But then I had a student using it, and then I saw it's a little bit more common in British English. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to correct things that are from a different variety of English. I'm just a little bit thrown off by this
Yes,
word.
exactly. No, it's the same thing with a few tenses. For example, I know that the present perfect it's more used in the UK, and I love the present perfect. I just love it. I mix. I feel like it's my second language. I'm gonna do a little bit of everything, you know. So I mix a lot. And in Spanish from Spain, we have that a lot. We have this present perfect that they use it a lot. Whilst here in South America, they don't use it as much. Like they don't say
Yeah.
educado.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing. have that for completed actions, whereas for
Yes.
us, it's more common for something that's unknown when you're talking about it or it's incomplete. Like, we don't really use it to talk about a
Yes.
specific thing.
That is true.
Um, okay, another question.
Oh my.
What's your favorite English word at the moment?
Oh my
Or
god.
collocation? You could include something from your class as well.
Let me see. Let me see. Oh my god. If you have a good one, you go first because I have to think. I should have thought more about this one. Let me see.
I was thinking about one of my students is from Switzerland where they speak German. And she recently messaged me because the word Uber in German means over. But we also use that in English as a prefix to mean really or extra.
Mhm.
So it's like he was uber successful.
Oh
Like he was really
wow.
successful. And so for her that was something new. And I thought that
Well,
was
for me too. I've
interesting.
never heard over successful.
Yeah, uber successful.
Uber successful. I would say like super successful or something like
That's more
that.
common. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. That's
Oh,
more
thank
common.
goodness.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking, I love this expression because, for example, most of my students now they are learning about food, and I decided to include food idioms. And there is this idiom that it's having your cake and eating it too. And this one is
I love
so
that
good.
one.
And I always show the example. Friends, one of my favorite TV shows, and there is this episode where Joey, he says, "Wow, maybe he's talking to Chandler and he says, well, maybe Monica is having her cake and eating it too. And then he's talking about Richard, that was her ex-boyfriend, and Chandler, he's her husband. Oh, this episode is so funny. It's because there is this closet at Monica's house and they think that there is something inside there. And then Joey says, well, maybe it's Richard. Maybe she's having maybe she's having her cake and eating it too. I love in
Yeah.
getting those things from friends like the moo point or potato
Mhm.
potato. Those are the best.
Definitely. I think Friends is a really good series for learning English.
It
I've used clips
is.
in my classes of Friends and The Office
The Office
for
is great. Yes. And I feel like every time I watch Friends, I learn something new. It's not because I have been watching Friends for a while now. It's like my fourth or fifth time watching Friends. And now I feel like I'm paying more attention to collocations, to idioms. Recently, I've learned off the top of my head. And these are things that I'm like, well, I feel like as a teacher we have a different view of what's important, what's common, and I think this is super cool, like listening to it and understanding more the jokes and laughing when everybody's laughing and all, like what are all these people like laughing about.
exactly. I think that's also cool about rewatching something is there are so many layers of meaning. It's like you can watch it
Yes.
once and understand just the plot. Like Monica cheated on her, not that she cheated, but Monica had her husband and but then you can watch
The
again. Yeah,
closet.
you can watch again and notice like the subtle language things. So I think that's
Yes,
cool.
exactly.
We cut that out. Thank you so much for meeting with me today. It's been great to actually like talk to you because we've been messaging each other, but we haven't actually like talked in this way.
Yes.
Um, I'm curious, where can people find you? Are you offering any more classes? Yeah, in case anyone listening wants to follow you on social media or is interested in taking a class with you, what can you tell them?
Well, you can find me on Instagram, on my Instagram page, teacher Vitoria Tamarindo, very Brazilian name. Yes, I'm offering more classes. You can fill out the forms that I have on my bio to join a kind of wait list. I teach 101 and pairs if you're interested, and soon I'll open a conversational course to chat with more people.
Awesome. That sounds fun. Okay. Well, I'll also include all of your links in the description of the
Okay.
podcast. And yeah, thanks again for coming. And I hope to have you back in case you ever want to come back.
Oh, yes, I will. Did. Thank you very much for having me.